Okay, creatives, welcome to episode 3 of Enough. My name is Jessa Aguilo. I'm the founder here at Arts Pond. In this episode, I would like to share a few behind the scenes looks at Elemental, a new software ecosystem we are building to help manage creativity in the artistic, creative, and cultural industries. A note that I will not be sharing visual descriptions of what is on screen in this video. A dedicated accessibility video is coming in the future, so please stay tuned for that. The agenda for this video is an overview of Elemental, including its origins, where it's coming from, the modules and features we are working on, the lessons we are relying on from our past work to help guide us, a few page-by-page demos of what has been built so far to get a sense of maybe what is coming, a proposal for some of our early thinking on what pricing might look like for the ecosystem software, both so that it is accessible for you and sustainable for us, and then some next steps in terms of what you can expect. The origins of Elemental I would trace back to a post I shared on our blog called Hive of Ponds in March 2023. That is 3 and a bit years ago as of the recording of this video. Hive of Ponds was an idea for how a software ecosystem or platform might be structured, inspired by the periodic table of elements. So the main groups of the software solution platform that I thought of would be work, play, live, dream, and care. And within each of these main groups, there would be modules or features that address certain elements of managing creativity. So a gig marketplace, a core e-learning course website, an events listing, and ticket processing, ticket sales, software solution, a space listings, a knowledge base, a networking, journaling, mutual aid, dreaming space, thinking about our future and sharing proposals, seeking support to help realize our dreams, were some of the ideas that might be possible elements within the ecosystem of a software platform that's trying to address the elemental needs of managing creativity. This is the idea of the post. At the time, this post came from some challenges and some opportunities we were faced with halfway through, at that time, our development of Hatch Open. Hatch Open has been supported generously by the Canada Council for the Arts. Phase 1 ended in late 2025, but spanned pre-pandemic until then, so 6 years of development time that ended up being in 2023 quite a bit more complicated than we had expected. Very briefly, around that time, we had the glimmer that AI was going to change the world and change the way software worked. And what helped make software light and accessible than more traditional software, which is maybe a bit more heavier, but also more risky and more challenging in terms of privacy and ownership of key cultural insights and property and assets and so on. So in 2023, I thought about, well, okay, Hatch Open is not ready. Another video about that. Hatch Open is not ready to release, and it's probably going to take a few years more for it to be ready. So what can we do to take the lessons we have learned in developing Hatch Open as a custom application from scratch? It's not built on anything else. We coded it from start as a financial management software platform. What can we do from all those lessons to build out something quicker and lighter as an interim space while we wait to be ready to launch Hatch Open? And that is the role of Elemental. Elemental, all of those modules and features in work, live, play, dream, and so on, are the idea here is to build them not from scratch, but using white label software that other developers have provided, either as open source plugins and applications, or something that we purchase. And to use the WordPress ecosystem to serve as the basis. And so that's what we're going to be doing with Elemental. We're developing some of our own custom services, but also accepting and extending some that we have licensed for an annual or lifetime cost, averaging between $200 a year as a license for some of them, and some of them a one-time license of $500 to $1,000, so we can have it forever for the lifetime of the organization anyway. So that's the idea of Elemental. Before we get into Elemental, I just want to share in terms of some of the lessons from Hatch, how our coding for Elemental is being informed and inspired by Hatch Open. And what we learned for Hatch Open is to make the interface as not only visually enticing, but also the process that you have to go through to use the software accessible. And so we have a design motto of software you can hold in one hand, or care more broadly, you can hold in one hand by using the software. And that motto is inspired by the idea of 5 fingers, 5 toes, 5 things, doesn't have to be a hand, but 5 things at one time. So you click on a button and you're given 5 options in the menu, and no more than 5. And under each of those 5, there's only 5 sub options at any one time, so that we're not visually overwhelmed. You are greeted into a terrain of the software. Even though it's in a virtual space, there is a grounding in the software that is not overwhelming. It is accessible, it's relatable, it's understandable, and you're never asked for too much and you're never asked for too little. So this terrain became a concept in the software for Hatch Open. When you first share us your email and you're trying to decide whether you want the free account or a paid account, the first thing we ask are 5 things related to your terrain, the ground that you are entering into as a first-time user of the software. And the first part of a terrain is your body. Are you your legal status or structure is an individual, a family, or a company? Your lens is either personal or professional. Your domain, capacity, or function is a worker, a consumer, a governor. We have your occupation or activity as vocation, and your place, your residence or workplace, as well as your reach within that. So if you live in Montreal and your desired reach is all of Quebec, then your reach is provincial. But if you live in St. John's in Eastern Canada and you work only in the virtual space, then your reach is virtual. So there's national, international, and all the other potential reaches are all part of your terrain. And that's the starting point as an entry into the complexity of you, of your story, of how you work and how you connect into the ecosystem of the artistic, creative, and cultural industries. We think of this then as your personality. Inspired by the Myers-Briggs matrix of human personality, as a software user of Hatch Open and Elemental, there are all these possibilities of personalities. So if you chose an individual body, a worker domain, and a professional lens, that's the very first personality there, IOWA. You are an individual creator. And there are obviously many more possibilities, but an individual creator is someone who is actively involved in the creation of creative content and services to be shared with other workers, other consumers, governors, and the public. And we identify every single personality so that when you choose a personality matrix as your terrain, this is the common understanding we have at a very high level of who you are and potentially what you're using the software for. So in the third paragraph is what you're using for. You may be seeking opportunities to collaborate with other creators, widen your connections to people and companies in other industries, or deepen circles of financial support from patrons and investors for your creative practice. You might be emerging, you might be established, all these other, you might be a maker, a builder, a creative director, a curator, an educator, designer, understudy, and so on. All these different possibilities. But this could be your starting point, and we code this. We use IOWA and all the other personalities in Hatch Open and eventually in Elemental to code in when you ask us something. Can you please suggest another artist? Can you please find a donor that might help me? Well, we're going to use, because every user starts with the terrain, we're going to use that to help find those matchmaking recommendations and suggestions in the software whenever you ask for an alert to be set up when we know a new opportunity arises or a new artist that might be and sort of a kinship to you, then we're going to use your terrain as the starting point. There's multiple layers to add on top of the terrain, like your stream. The stream are your focus areas that you work in an industry, as a discipline, as a practice, form, and profession. So just very quickly, artistic industries, you might then choose the visual or performing arts as your discipline, your practice under visual arts, sculpture, printmaking, painting, etc. Under form, under painting, there's different styles or specialties or movements or genres that might be appropriate for your form. So form is a grouping there of multiple different types that you can choose that's relevant to your specific discipline and practice. And then your profession is the last one. And the profession links up to national and international standards for occupation. So your job title might be co-artistic director, but your occupation is just artistic director. And artistic director in the performing arts is a certain type of occupation according to the government of Canada and other governments. So there's a code, there's a classification standard in Canada called NOC, the National Occupation Classification. So we can sync up your information, your terrain and your stream and everything else that follows to federal standards related to your occupation. You may call yourself something else that isn't available in the federal government standards, but we will, once you choose it, we will choose your occupation and your job title. We will make sure it links to something that you feel comfortable with in the national standards, so that if you opt in to share your data and your impacts, either as open data or for sale to government or to corporations and so on as impact, you will have an understanding of how it's getting mapped. But the software itself, the Elemental ecosystem, the Hatch Open ecosystem, will support you in your story and classifying and categorizing and sharing it in the language that you use. But we'll always tie it back at the base level to other standards that are not yours, so that we can help facilitate those conversations. So we are currently in phase 1 of Elemental. There are about 10 modules that we are currently working on, and 4 are closer to being ready to launch. Up is a domain for opportunities. We is a social media network. B is a space for listings and mapping spaces. Facilities and venues and public spaces that are relevant to our work. And OK is an e-learning application. So let's take a look at these in more detail. The opportunity types for UP include about 88 in total at a high level of categories. So there's 88 in sub-level, and there's only about 7 or 8 in total at a high level. So the high level are open calls and events, as well as funds, gigs, internships, jobs, learning, and volunteering. So at Up, you'll be able to post opportunities of all of these kinds, whether you have opportunities that you are wanting people to apply to or express interest in, or you're seeking opportunities of these types that you are looking for someone to help you. So you have an open call for a casting call in addition, and you are either offering that or you are seeking opportunities to audition for your work. There's both of those perspectives for all of these opportunity types that are on screen. Events, we have another module called Do, which will be an event calendar and an event ticketing platform. It's in phase 2, not phase 1. But in Up, you'll be able to just list your events and create links, share links to wherever the ticketing or wherever you can engage further outside of Up. But we'll be able to use Up to make offers or seek events that are of interest. So if you're seeking residencies to help you grow your creative practice, then you could post an opportunity type of residencies seeking. Or if you are an organizer and you have a residency, then you can offer a residency. And same for all the other types here. We're not going to go through all of them in detail right now. The same for funding. There are funding opportunities, or you're seeking funding opportunities, whether it's grants or crowdfunding, that it's not charitable, but there's also charitable giving, venture capital, loans and microfinancing, social finance, awards and bursaries and scholarships, whether you're seeking them or offering them. These are all under Up. More traditional work opportunities include gigs, internships, and jobs. We're going to be supporting from just listing gigs, short contracts or on-demand or project-based contracts, but we're also going to be supporting a basic, for phase 1, a basic gig marketplace. So you can list opportunities on Up, but you can also facilitate bidding, awarding, and delivery of gig contracts using Up. We have Go is a module for a more fulsome gig marketplace that will be more affordable and more accessible than the commercial ones that are out there like Upwork and Fiverr. But for now, we are just going to be supporting the sort of that minimal transaction that's necessary for someone to post a brief about a task that you have. I'm seeking someone to help me design a logo, and I have between $200 and $500. Please express interest, bid, make an offer of what you would do. I can choose one, award the contract to somebody. The delivery of that gig asset is done through Up, and payment is all done through Up. So we support the payment processing and all of that. We also support applications, so applicant tracking of jobs. So whether it's employee or freelance and contract gigs, we will through Up be able to support that. Not just the listing of it, but also you can accept all the applications for your jobs and your gigs through the Up listing, and help you facilitate the selection process. Other types of opportunity are learning, so not just events like going to performances, but learning events, whether they're courses or labs or master classes, mentorships, and training programs. And the last one, along with the work family, is volunteering. So let's take a look at what some of this actually looks like in the software platform for Up that we have developed so far. All right, here's the Up interface that we have developed so far. You can go to up.artspawn.com to check it out, but you actually can't see any of this. All you can see at the moment is a landing page for Up. Opportunities for creatives everywhere, coming soon. So this is the back end, behind the scenes, what I've been working on. So the software modules, all of them for Elemental, take that 5-piece terrain and streams at the core and build on it further. All the modules have a viewpoint that's currently only 2. There'll be some that'll have more than 2, but up has this seeking and offering viewpoint. So you're seeking an opportunity or you're offering an opportunity. That's core in terms of categorization of the listings. And then there's the categories themselves of the types of opportunities, and they're not all showing in the categories here for the event, the opportunity types, because I don't have examples actually saved of types of. There's no events listed in my scheme here, so only the calls, gigs, internships, jobs, and volunteering are showing up because I only have postings for those. But we can search and filter here, and there's an advanced search as well. But I'm just going to scroll down here to show you what the summary cards look like. So we can have a featured listing, and then the detail, the others, which includes the basics: your avatar, the type, the title, the organization or the creator, the offerer, the seeker, deadline dates, and so on in the listings. And down below that, you can search for more on the home page, and we have a featured spotlight for both folks that are seeking and offering opportunities. We can spotlight you as a part of your membership with us. And that will take you straight to your profile, which I will show to you in a second. So that's the landing page. So when you click on each of these cards, they take you to a more detailed listing where you can actually apply or express interest. That part is not looking that great because the opportunities that are here, I've just not built them out. I haven't put in any data. So, and I've not designed this page yet, but just so you can see that you can apply for this job. And it's actually volunteering. So we should actually apply to be a volunteer or something rather than apply for a job. You need to change that label there, but you can bookmark it. You can send a message to the creator of this opportunity and ask questions or whatever. So there'll be more information, obviously, about the whole post in here, but as I say, I haven't built that out yet. When we go back to here and we click on, say, the spotlights for the different people that are sharing postings, then that'll take you to their profile. So here's ArtsPawn's profile. We aren't currently a seeker. We're only an offering. So the opportunities we have created are only offers, but we have open opportunities here. We can show more, and we can click on these, and it'll take us directly to the detail page for all of those opportunities, so we can apply for them. And this updates automatically. You don't need to do anything. It's just based on what you have created so far in the ecosystem. The tasks is that gig marketplace, so you can bid now on this opportunity, which is $40 to $70 an hour. You can, as a social media content creator or website copywriter, or design a logo for $250 to $500, make a bid, and then there'll be a selection process and a delivery process and a payment process, all facilitated right in up here. And then we get your about information, your terrain details, and your stream details, all visible here on your profile. This profile here is shared across your whole elemental ecosystem profile, and you actually create it when you set up your train and your stream. The next thing we ask is about your public facing profile. So this gets shared across the elemental ecosystem in different places, but what is shared here will change according to different circumstances. So open opportunities and open tasks won't be shown elsewhere. Won't show in your social media network or in the spaces place. It only shows in up. All of these pills for the streams are clickable. The idea is that they're filters. I haven't built out those filters yet, so I can't demonstrate them. But they're to help you with searchability and findability of like-minded folks and other opportunities within your focus areas of interest to be able to filter out the lists. You can add a review as well to any folks that are creating opportunities to share. So that's your profile. You can add an avatar. You can move that. If you have a photograph, you can move it around and reposition it. Same with the, you can reposition, drag and move that image around. Mine is, it can't go left and right because it's too big. But if yours is a bit smaller, then it can go left and right, up and down. You can move things around to reposition to your liking. And if we go then to edit your profile here, which I believe is the next page. Yes, it is. Here we can get into the dashboard and we can see all the details that are behind the creation of fields on your profile. So you can choose your vocation, which is your terrain. Down further here, you can choose your type, which is your body, individual, household, or organization. There's additional fields that I didn't show you once you've chosen your body type. So if you're an organization, you're a corporation or a cooperative, a business, not-for-profit or for-profit is your margin opportunities. If you are an individual, you are self-employed or a sole proprietorship, these employee, you could be all of those. A household has family and non-family for roommates or chosen family and biofamily. So those options there for your structure around the terrain is an extra layer that's being added on in the software beyond what I've already shown you. Location includes latitude and longitude automatically created once you put in your location details. It's a generalized latitude and longitude. If you don't provide your postal code or your street address, it'll just be the city, the province, and the country. You can search for your location. You don't have to type it all in. You can search it in there using Find Location. If you don't have an avatar image or a cover image, for your profile, you can generate one. At the moment, these are just basic geometric shapes and basic colors, gradients are solid, but I hope to add image generators in the near future or selection of images from open data sets like Unsplash or elsewhere, just being able to add photos from elsewhere that are permissible for you to do so. I just haven't built that out just yet. But here's an example. You can generate different shapes. If I zoom in, see a bit better there. I can generate different shapes or Identicon. Looks a little bit more lo-fi, giphy. Initials is boring, but basic there if that's what you would like. So shapes most interesting there. The banner color, if you don't have an image, you can choose automatic, which is our theme colors or a solid color. You can regenerate those, change the darkness or lightness. You could add a gradient, which is just two colors there. We tend to go with more extreme, so you can then finesse them in terms of the gradient. So they're not soft gradients, but you can change that lightness and darkness to whatever you like. Again, we'll add hopefully the selecting from Unsplash and elsewhere. If you don't have an image, then you can take them from publicly available assets elsewhere. The profile that we support is bilingual, not trilingual, just bilingual. So up here at the top, just make it a little bit smaller. You can choose a primary and secondary language. So the defaults would be English, French, or French, English as the primary and secondary. But there are other languages in here, most of the indigenous languages in Canada, as well as other international languages that are popular in Canada are in here as options. So if you are an organization like ArtsPond, it's ArtsPond/Étendard, and our standard is normally ArtsPond/Étendard. But for a posting that we were hiring French people, we could change that here and show a name on profile. We could change that order to be our secondary language first. So it would be Étendard/ArtsPond if that was our preference, or English only or French only. Match the visitor's language for their preference is the sort of that default. So once you set up that, then you can post according to those two languages all of your opportunities. So if you are a bilingual organization, English, French, but you have an opportunity that you want to post in French and Italian because you're trying to hire a bunch of Italians, then you can change for your opportunity. You can change the primary and secondary language to be French and Italian. And then you can write that post in those two languages. And so someone who is Italian and visits up and Italian is their primary language, they'll be able to see by default your Italian language post, not the French one. That's the idea behind it anyway. And then we have profile information and so on, multiple phones, multiple social links. You can change the order of them, your preference to show on your profile. You can select your streams. We have a top 5 here. So you select your industry, artistic, choose one. So multi or inter arts, add another one, artistic, performing arts, go all the way down, select 5. You can add those 5 over to your industries all for your streams, and then add any others that are missing that go beyond your top 5. We use the top 5 along with your terrain and stream profiles, your personalities, again, for that matchmaking. So if you're looking for opportunities or like-minded folks that share your top 5, then we're going to use your terrain personality and your top 5 streams to help us make those recommendations to you. Another one is priority groups. There's two sides of that, priority groups that you self-identify as and priority groups that you support in your work. And there's a large group of them there, currently all showing deaf, disabled, queer, or 2S LGBTQIA+. This is the long version of that, new generation or youth, and so on. So you can select those, and that's another level beyond stream, beyond terrain, to help us with the matchmaking. And you can make these priority groups different for your profile and different for your opportunity posts. So you'll see that in a second. We also, if I zoom out, it'll look a little bit better. There we go. For an organization, we can set up your average wage ranges that you hire or that you're if this is a seeking profile, your wage ranges that you are seeking to be hired for as a creator, as a manager, as a producer for jobs or gigs. And we also set up a privacy setting. And I think we should do a whole nother video all about privacy because it's a huge topic. But basically, the idea here is that we will support you customizing the access level for your profile and your opportunity posts and any other information that you share in the Elemental ecosystem. And there are all of these tiers here: open, search, site, members, and private. So private is the most secure. It means only you and the team members that you invite to your account will see what you are creating. So that's where all your drafts and private material can go. Members are members of Elemental. So any other members of this ecosystem will then be able to see what you are sharing. Site is registered members of Elemental as well as the general public that visits our website. But we're not doing anything to promote it to search engines. We're not adding in or asking you to add in any SEO, site engine optimization tags for images and topics for your issues. We're just, we won't promote it there until we get to the search level. So in the search level, we might ask for additional information. We will be asking for additional information on your post to support search engine optimization. And that's for humans trying to find things on the web. So going to DuckDuckGo or Google or whatever and typing in the search thing a number of words. SEO optimization is meant to get your stuff discoverable by humans typing in search engines. The last level of privacy is linked open data, and that's for machines to find you and then recommend you to others, not through search engines, but through Siri, through AI speakers that you've got from Apple or from Amazon or whatever, where you talk to when you talk to an AI engine and you're not actually using the web, you're just speaking. You're saying, "Can you find me a job? I need an opportunity for work starting next month. Do you have anything that's relevant to me?" Well, that's a machine search. And if your information is in linked open data, then a machine can find it. So we can decide, and we will facilitate the promotion of your information at all of these levels. We'll promote it to linked open data if you want. There's huge benefits to that, and there's huge challenges about that. Another video on that. If you're at all interested, take a look at artsdata.ca, which was a digital strategy fund project from Canada Council for the Arts through Capicoa and Culture Creates. They are doing a lot for linked open data, promoting arts information into linked open data so it can be found by those machine searches. But it is focused primarily on the performing arts. Well, we're doing the same thing through UP and through the rest of the Elemental ecosystem. If you choose open, we will promote it to linked open data so it can be found by machines. Okay, I think that's it for UP, other than just a quick look at the dashboard. So you can see a summary of the number of opportunity listings you have, the number of views, applications, times that your opportunity is been bookmarked by someone else. You can see your messages, your bookmarks, your opportunity alerts when you set up a search to be notified about certain opportunities that you're looking for. That's all available through the dashboard. The wallet tasks, my bids and my projects are all around the gig marketplace, and opportunities are where you manage all your opportunities, profiles where you manage your public profile, and applications is where you manage your application. So your CV that you, as a seeker, you're going to submit, or if you are offering opportunities, then the applications that you receive will all be flowed through there so you can review and select. Okay, that's enough on UP. Let's briefly look at B next. So B is cultural, creative, and artistic spaces. It's at b.artsplawn.com. If you go there now, you're only going to see the landing page. B, creative spaces around the world coming soon. But for the login here, for me, to give you a little behind the scenes. So we have the same viewpoints that we're reaching for B longer term. So you can seek and offer spaces. Also, another viewpoint, in addition to that we're working towards building, is working and living. So there's workspaces, there's living spaces, there's also in between those two live workspaces, the combination. So there'll be 3 there, not just 2. I have not yet built out any of these viewpoints yet. All we have right now is a map. So let me show you what's on the map, and then we'll show you the map itself. So the map currently has over 320,000 spaces on it. There's more than 120 countries and about 10,000 cities. It's currently undercounted on the screen there because the data set doesn't have all the columns, don't have all of the country and city data populated in them yet. Although we have their latitude and longitude, so we know where they're located. We just haven't got those city and country columns filled out yet. So there's some challenges with B and the spaces because all of this data is coming from linked open data, and it's coming from open data sets published by governments, primarily federal governments around the world. And so their data, they've made choices about what the categories are useful to them. In terms of categorizing all the spaces to help filter and search through them. Their categories aren't necessarily helpful to us. So for example, a big part of our current data set is from Statistics Canada. And one of several databases we have is the ODCEAF, which is the Open Database of, or Open Dataset of Cultural and Artistic Facilities. It has over 80,000 records in it. And 56,900 or so of them, a lot of them are performance venues. Amazing. All over Canada. But we don't know anything beyond that. Are they concert halls? Are they dance spaces? Are they theater spaces? Are they mixed? Do they have what are the rooms and studios within these venues? We don't have that information. All we have is the main facility and the address. And through Link to Open Data, we can find websites and emails and some other information at a base level. But we need to scrape further by visiting every website for every venue, every space as available. We'll need to visit to find all that enriched data that goes beyond what's available in the data sets we have. So I would love to be able to categorize those 56,000 venues under performance venue, under the disciplines in performing arts, but we don't have that data yet. And it's going to be a part machine and part human process that's expensive and time consuming to do. So for now, we just have to kind of acquire that set. We did a test to explore the performance venues to see how many were clearly concert halls. So we'll see concert halls here at the bottom, and there are 10 of them. So that was just a test at the moment. Another one that's a little bit disappointing as a large set is art or cultural center. Well, what kind of art or cultural center? Is it a community center? Is it a friendship center? Is it a combined arts and community center? Is it an artist-run center? Is it a gallery? And we have those also. We have artist-run centers and galleries in here somewhere. I'm not seeing them right now. So under here, art and culture center are art galleries, artist-run centers, all just like performance venue. There are multiple types. We don't have that detail in the original data sets that we've been given. So we're a bit overwhelmed by the lack of good tags that will be what people are looking for, but this is what we have so far. So we have arts and culture, sports and recreation, education and training as the big categories. And let's look at the map now, just so we can see very quickly what it actually looks like. Don't worry about find a space and the lack of menus and stuff like that. This is just what we have been able to code so far. So we get all these bubbles, which is very typical of any kind of map with lots of records on it, 300,000+ on the whole map around the world. So we get all these bubbles, and as you zoom in, eventually you get to individual records. What I've not seen implemented widely elsewhere on maps, some but not all, is if we right-click on a space bubble like the 19,000 here, I get a preview of the top 5. So in this 19,000, the top one with the most amount is parks. And it goes down from there to the 6th category, where there are 25 other types that have 4,000 in it. And we can click on any of these and it will then filter the 19,000 and show them. So let's just take a look at performance venue. And there's all the performance venues from the 19,000 that show. And it's showing us filter performance venues. So if I click that out, I can go back to have all. Okay. So that any bubble you can right click on it and it'll give you what's in there. And it'll just sort of temporarily make the others less visible so you can focus on that and filter. You can also use the filter up here, arts and culture, sports and recreation, education and training, to filter out the list. Once we get into an individual record level, so if we zoom in further, let's do something in Hamilton. What do we got? Let's do this park right here. Let's see if we can find something creative. Here is a theater. So if we click on that, at the moment we haven't built out the full record data set. It's mostly about the facility name, their location, and their type. We're working on the enriched data over time. But right now we've got, if we click on that, it takes it to the record. And from there, we see the name, we see their location, their address if available, their website if available. We have the source of where this information came from and a license and the opportunity to claim a listing. So we'll have this throughout the ecosystem also. Whenever there's linked open data that's shared in the site, whether it's an opportunity or a space or something else, if it's not posted by anyone in the ecosystem yet, but we're sharing it within the ecosystem because it's available elsewhere and it's promoted to linked open data, so it's meant to be accessible, then we'll publish it so you can be aware of more opportunities. But it's not ours. It's not owned by anyone in the ecosystem. So we'll have this claim the listing here so that they can join the ecosystem and then make any edits or changes or additions that they would like. And this comes to the value proposition about B. And the inspiration for B comes from the loss of Spacefinder by Fractured Atlas. It's an American company. They had built a software solution to help share that enriched data. So not just a facility, but all the rooms and studios within it, how many seats there are, what all the access measures that are available, what all the lighting and sound equipment that is available there, the lighting grids and the dimension plans for the space. All of that enriched data was available in Fractured Atlas and unfortunately in Fractured Atlas Spacefinder. Unfortunately, Spacefinder, Fractured Atlas couldn't sustain it longer term. They've abandoned it. They're not supporting it any longer. So there was a big population of Spacefinder Canada sets that were out there, and that's no longer available. So all that enriched data is gone or not easily accessible. It's available in Wayback Machine. If you're interested, you can explore, but we're trying to offer up a solution that can recover some of what was lost through Spacefinder. So we're starting with that enriched data, trying to capture that. It's probably going to cost us about $6,000 to use machines to try to gather that enriched data. We've already spent about $1,000 so far, but we have so much empty data that we need to search. So the first phase that we are budgeting is about $6,000. So we want to offer this for free, but it does cost us money to be able to do it. So a certain number of space queries or something will be available for free, but after you've done a certain number of queries on the spaces, we'll ask you to join to help us cover some of the costs to continue the research and fleshing out the data that's available. So Spacefinder also had schedules and booking for all the venues as optional opt-ins for anyone that wanted to claim those spaces and share those spaces. So we want to do the same. I will mention, in addition to the privacy, is our commitment to care around. So we're using linked open data sets. We aren't going to publish anything that anyone might have concerns about if we have not gotten permission to share first. If it's promoted to linked open data, then that's a permission to share it. But we're still, every record that, before it goes live, every record that is on the data set, we will try to get in touch with the organization responsible for that or the person responsible for that and say, hey, do you mind if we share it? It was discoverable in this, from this data set or this linked open data address. Is it still current? Do you want to update it? Or would you rather opt out and have it not shared? So by default, the data set is 320,000, but when we go live, it's default opt out. So it may only be 50,000 when we go live. If that's the only ones we feel we have enough permission from. So we're not going to be publishing any Indigenous community spaces on the map in particular until we have worked with those communities quite closely to make sure that they're accurate and that there's willingness and readiness on both sides to have them included in the space. So that's one of our key commitments to care. So we're not just trying to exploit data and make money from it. We want to make sure that everyone knows what's happening in terms of what's being shared and how, so that they can have control and ownership over that. The other part about B is story, and this comes from Hatch Open also. So there's the map, and we have all these pins. What about stories between them? So you were an audience attendee, you're a fan of art galleries, and you went on a tour of art galleries in a new city that you've never been to, and you found the current exhibits really, really inspiring. Well, you can create a story that links different pins on the map, and every connection line, you can add a story to it. Add images, add reflections, suggestions, recommendations. So an art gallery tour, or if you are a musician and you're trying to book a tour of London, UK, or you're trying to book a tour across Canada, then you can create stories with suggestions of what works and what doesn't work to help bring these pins alive. Hatch Open is also working on not just a spaces map, but a knowledge map and what we're calling an ecosystems map. So people and wisdom and knowledge in the community, and creating and works in the community. So creating stories between them also will be something we're working on longer term. So that's B for now. I could just mention about the other two main modules that are coming soon. And those are okay and we. There are two things about these two that are clear and really challenging. They are clear because, unlike B and Up, which are taking quite a bit of custom code, there's not a lot of white label software that we're happy with that are specific to the arts and culture sector that can support our train and streams and all of the stuff that we're trying to accomplish. So most of what you've seen for Up and B is from scratch or reusing plugins in a very custom way where we're not even using most of it. We've changed it so much. It's essentially a different solution. But for OK and We, e-learning and social networking, there are very robust white label software solutions that other developers have created that are affordable for us, that meet the needs of the community. So we can, once we have a license for them, once we've situated them in the elemental ecosystem, we can launch them pretty easily. So that's the easy part. The clear and easy part. The challenging and risky part for both of them is the expense. The expense of a social network for a small organization like us is not something to be taken lightly. Some pre-planning on this for 100,000 members, including all the technical resources and human resources that are needed to make the social network both responsible and accountable and fun and engaging for all of its members and safe, is about $1 million a year for every 100,000 users. So you think about big platforms like Meta that have billions of users, what their cost levels are, but they have efficiencies of scale by having so many users that their cost per user is going to be much lower than us. But it is going to be risky for us to launch a social network if we don't have a cost structure and a human support structure in place for the hosting of it. Pre-launch. If we launch something and 10,000 users join in and we go bankrupt because it's costing us too much to host it, then that's not a good thing. Similarly for OK, all the videos for the e-learning, so you can make your own courses in OK, create it, market it, host it, evaluate it, payment process, all of it through OK. That also, when you think about your videos and your audio and your visual assets, you probably don't want those to be on big platforms necessarily like Vimeo or YouTube. You might want them to be privately hosted here, where you have those options of promoting to linked open data or private. There's clear understanding of how the assets are going to be promoted and available outside of the OK ecosystem. That's not clear in other platforms. So for us to host those assets is also, like a social media network, potentially expensive. So these are things that we need to think about. And this comes to our question about pricing. Okay, so there's some numbers here on the screen. And I would say with a little toss of the salt, these are aspirational. Every module in Elemental will be free. That's the aspiration. And we will not deliver an Elemental ecosystem without this. So free is, yes, it will happen. Then there'll be tiers beyond that, which will give you more levels of access. You can do more with it. So there's a creator level, collective, community, and ultimate. In the early financial planning, we are trying to keep it under $100 a year for all of the modules, even when we have 8 or 12 of them. Currently, there's only really up and OK and we. B is just a publicly available asset. There isn't anything that's costing anything at the moment really around it. So it's really only 3 modules. So 3 modules will cost you $99 now as a community member. And when we go to 6, ideally it stays at $99. Just what will change over time as more and more modules are added is how you spend that $99 can change. So there'll be caps across the different modules at various pricing tiers. But we're using a token system where you can spend your tokens wherever you like. So while there are caps across the whole ecosystem, if you want to spend all your tokens in one area, you can. The software will support that. So if you are a community member and you want to spend the majority of your tokens in the social network so you can have more uploads of media, of pictures and videos and so on, then you can do that. If you want to spend your $99 more balanced across the whole module, then you can do that. But the goal here is to have it financially accessible to you. Whether we can host a social network as one of the platforms without any advertising at $99 a year, when it's $1 million for 100,000 users, that's remains to be seen. So the question we have for you to think about after you watch this video is, what would you be comfortable with? Not necessarily the amount paying, but what would you want the experience to look like in the Elemental ecosystem if you joined? Would you not want to ever see any ads? Would you not want to see any promotions from a sponsor? Not necessarily ads everywhere, like you see on newspapers or on broadcasting like CBC and elsewhere. In Toronto Star, you see all these ads, but occasional sponsorship videos that you're required to watch before you sign in. They're 30 seconds or something like that. Or a minute, and you can't continue without watching the whole video. So sponsorship messages of that kind, if we had those, that would help us reduce the risk and the cost of the social media network in particular, and make the pricing as accessible to all of you as possible. So the ultimate is just future forward thinking about having a higher level where you have unlimited access. There are no caps in terms of usage across the platform, and it would cost more to do so. Okay, so that's the end of the major part of this Enough, episode number 3. Thanks for getting to here. Thanks for watching all the way to the end. I'd like to thank you for your time and support of our organization. We're now in 12, going on 13 years old. I'd like to thank you for your support, and I'd like to thank our funders, Canada Council for the Arts, Ontario Arts Council, the Government of Ontario, the Government of Canada, the City of Toronto, and Toronto Arts Council are all our current year funders for different activities. Elemental is currently only being supported by Ontario Arts Council and the Government of Ontario through our core funding from the operating stream at Ontario Arts Council. However, the work that we have done and the work that we are doing for Elemental is very much reliant on all the lessons from Hatch Open, which was supported by the Government of Canada and Canadian Council for the Arts, as well as Ontario Arts Council and the Government of Ontario. So thank you for that support. Thank you for watching to the end. What you can expect for episode number 4 coming soon is an insight into what we are planning for the next 4 or 5 years or so. We submitted our first time ever core funding application to Canadian Council for the Arts in May, and it was for the years 2028 to 2031. So I'd love to share what our longer term plans are and how they connect to our care plan, Wellsprings, which is our strategic plan. But our care plan is what we call it in terms of our plans up until the end of our second decade, going up to 2034. Or 2033, I believe it is actually. Yes. So I'd love to give you some insights on what our longer term plans are, and Elemental is just one of them, one of the activities that we're trying to do. In episode 5, for the geeks in the house, you can learn more about some of the technical aspects of what's behind the scenes in building the map, in building up, and building the other modules of Elemental, and they all relate to lessons from Hatch Open, as I've shared today. There's more learnings there. So if you are more of a technical geek, then episode 5 of Enough will look into that in more detail. So thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you soon.